Hey everybody, what's going on? Lars here. This is your very first review video for the very first unit for the fall 2017 version of Python methodologies for data science. Um, Basically what we'll do is we'll probably review about the first half of the unit slides, and then we'll do some small announcements, not a lot though, because although I'll probably take a break tomorrow, I'm going to get you the second review video Friday, because Saturday's a Rutgers home game, and I am a season ticket holder, so I will be at the football game. And Sunday is the first day of the NFL, and I happen to suffer from that disease as well. So it's going to be a busy, busy weekend with stupid, stupid football. And I want to make sure you get your Python resources, because like I said in class, and it was a good class, it was a good thing we saw. I like seeing everybody and, letting you see each other. But like I said, I want to do the first week where you get all your resources, where you get the slides, where you read some Zell, where you get to watch some of the review videos, and you get to steep in it, and you get to think about it, and you get to, get acclimated with what's going on. Then halfway through the unit, I'm going to hit you with the assignments. And then you can take your time with what you've learned and, conquer the assignments. And then at the very end of the unit, you report out as the expert, you do a little quiz, and everything is good. But I'm going to get started as far as doing some basic Python stuff tonight, and then I'll get you that second video on Friday, and then you'll have all your resources, and you can get to work on the assignments. All right. So I'll do some announcements at the end, but right now let's get started with the Python stuff. So if you can see my screen, I have a whole bunch of junk. I'm going to go with idle 3.6. If you and all systems are different, so I don't want to get crazy with this, but I'm still using Windows 8.1 because I didn't see a reason to upgrade to 10. Windows wasn't exactly impressing me on that kind of stuff. So what I do when I load my Python is I load it in the directory just called Python and then the version. So you can see I have my 2.7 there, I have my 3.4 there, I have my 3.6 there. If you can get to your Python install, and if you did it in Windows 10, it's something crazy in your user directory, like user documents, your name, something else, program data, something blah, blah, blah. It's crazy and long, because I did it on my nephew's machine maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and it was a long, convoluted process, because I wanted to show him. I wanted to say, hey, wherever your base directory is, and here's mine, 3.6, you go to the lib directory, and when you get to the lib directory, you find the idle lib directory, and in this directory down here is where you find idle. Okay, and then you could just drag that to the desktop, and then you'll have an icon like I have. But idle is sitting in here, Python 3.6 lib, idle lib. Okay, and then so now, from now on, and you can see the other stuff we're going to talk about later. I have IPython here and Spider and all, and Anaconda and all that stuff. But right now, we just want to use the regular old idle, and when you double click it, you get the Python shell and the interactive window. And as you can see, the interactive window is almost like a calculator. You can start doing stuff right away. I'm going to take a variable a, and I'm going to assign it 6, and then just hit enter. So now the variable a has 6. If I type a, it shows me 6. So I can make b, assign that 7, and then b will give me 7. Then if I want, I can say, hey, what's a plus b, and it'll tell me 13. And then if I want, I can assign the variable c, the sum of that, and CC is 13, so that's all a good deal right there. This is just with the interactive window. We haven't even started writing programs yet. So what else can we do here? I'm dealing with 6 and 7 and 13, and these are integers, basically whole numbers, numbers that you would use to count with. We could also do floating points. So if I had a D, I could make that equal to 45.6, and then when I do D, I get the full number. I can also, if I want to, define some of the other numbers up there, like 13. If I want to define it as a float, just do 13 by 0. Right there, and you'll get a floating point number. Now, you might be saying to yourself, how do I know the difference? I mean, A is that, E is that. What's the difference? Well, I can tell by using the type function. And if I do the type function, and then I put A inside as the argument or the parameter, it comes back and it says class int. That means integer. So if I did the same thing for E, it would tell me float, which means it's a floating point number. Like we said in class, Python is dynamically typed, so it makes its best guess at what data type it thinks you want to use and then assigns it that. And you can see what data type you have by doing the type command. If I wanted to do an alphanumeric, say a W, and I want to make it equal to my name, Lars, and then I did a type there, it would come back and tell me string, str, that it's a string. Just a string of characters or alphanumeric numbers. Okay? But this is just the interactive window, and it's going to come in handy later. We're going to see, because we're going to do, I think in this video we do a little debugging with it. Oh, I need some coffee. It's still raining out. It's been It's Wednesday when I'm shooting this, and it's been pouring all day long and pouring all night long, and it's still dripping, and it's cold. It's just cold. Excuse me a moment. I have to talk to somebody. Alexa, tell me about the weather.
In Metuchen, it's 61 degrees with rain. Tonight's forecast calls for more of the same, with a low of 57 degrees.
It seems colder than that. Why she can't pronounce Metuchen properly, I have no earthly idea. But I digress. We'll deal with Alexa more during the semester. I am certain. For now, it's probably time we do a program, huh? All right, we looked at some simple data types. We looked at assigning variables. We looked at some types. I'm guessing we want to do a program. So if we want to do a program, which is completely different from using Python commands in the interactive window, what we want to do is get a file. Now, sometimes in Python books, I think even in Zell, they'll call them modules. But really, module is just another name for a program. If you can see what I did, I'm going to do it again because I wasn't very verbose. Just go to File, New File, okay? And you'll get a window. And then what I usually do is I give it a few number signs, or you can call them octothorpes. And that's where you can put in your comments. I won't just put some bland comment thing. Usually what you do is you put author, and I will say Lars, and why I can't make a capital there, I don't know. And then put the purpose. I will just put a simple arithmetic program, because we're going to play with some arithmetic. But the first thing we're going to do, because we are duty bound as computer programmers, to start our journey into any new programming language with a program that prints hello world to the screen. So I am not going to risk angering the programming gods by doing something different. All right, I've typed my program. As we saw with the cruddy little example that I did in class, I've got some red comments up here because idle's going to color my code. I've got a print function, which is purple. I can say purple correctly, but I like saying purple. And hello world is green. Idle makes strings green. So I want to run this program. But first I have to give the file, the program, a name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to say Save As. But as you can see here, you can also do that by hitting Control-S. That's going to become important later. But right now I'm going to hit Save. And you know what? Do I have a directory? Did I make a directory for us this year? Python Data Science. And Fall 2017. Look at that. Isn't that something? All right, what am I going to call this? I think I call this one Rev. Rev1.py, and you can see because it says save type as Python files, I don't have to put the py in, and I'm just going to call it Rev1, and as you can see, it's right there up in the top of that window there. So, what am I going to do next? I'm going to run it. How do I do that? I go up to Run, and I hit Run Module. But as you can see, that F5 there is going to come into play later. So I say Run Module, and what happens is the contents of my program, or my program run, appears here in the interactive window on the other side. So what I usually do when I do my Python coding is I'll keep my interactive window off here to the side, and then I'll have my code window here. So that way when I try stuff, I can then see it pop up over here. All right? Now, as you can see, I want to make a change. I say, hello there, world. And all of a sudden, you just see it run. Well, really what's happening there is that I'm hitting Control-S to save it, and then I'm hitting F5 to run it. And if you look at your keyboard, Control-S, F5, it's like a little diagonal right up the keyboard. And if you are a Python programmer, you will learn how to do that in your sleep, so that you will make a change and you'll be and it'll just run, and you'll run it right away. You'll see it's an easy process, okay? So, think about it. we got a lot of stuff under our belts. We typed a very simple program with a command. We now know how to create a program, save a program, run a program. The output of the run is over here in the interactive window. So we're in pretty good shape so far. All right? But this hello world thing ain't going to pay the bills. So let's play around with a little bit of arithmetic. All right. Let's create some variables. I am going to create one called the sum. And I'm going to make it... Now, you know what? Give me some numbers first. Oh, let's say num1 is equal to 45. And let's say num2 is equal to 90. And we will say the sum is assigned, not equals, assigned num1 plus num2. Done. The difference will be assigned the value of num2 minus num1. Then I'll say the product is assigned num1 times num2. You can see the plus sign, the minus sign, the ampersand for the, not the ampersand, the asterisk for multiplication. These are all normal things that you're probably used to seeing. Then the quotient, I will say num2 divided by num1. That's pretty normal, but wait, hold on a second. I'm going to create another one called the quotient 2. And I'm going to make it equal to, well, this one's not going to be very exciting, so we're going to have to change our numbers. But I'm going to make it num dash slash num2. Actually, not num. I'll just make that num2. And then make that num1. And then, watch me work, I'm going to make this 92. And we're going to see something funky. All right? Now, if I run this program, I don't think anything's going to happen. And it doesn't. Because I'm not printing things. Here in the interactive window, if I pop in a variable name like we had our A, well, we don't anymore because we just ran a program. But if I put in a variable name, and it would print it out because it's the interactive window. But here in the program, we have to explicitly print things if we want to see them. So I'm going to print the sum, the diff, the prod, the quote, and the quote 2. All right, my OCD will not stand for that, and then you just put that there. So now I hit Control S, F5 to run, and I get 137, 47 that, and then I get 2.0, and then here I get 2. All right, let's go look at what we got and compare it to what has printed out. So when we add them both together, 137, pretty self-explanatory. Same thing with the difference, 47. All right, multiply them together, 4140. All right, not 5150, the Van Halen album. And if I do num2 divided by num1 here, I get 2.0444 because that's what the answer is. Here, the quotient 2, I just get 2. Okay? 2 slashes is what's called integer division or floor division. All right? You will just get the whole number. It's like, think of it as a division that always rounds down. Okay? Floor division, or what we call in Python integer division sometimes. That's what you get if you use the 2 slashes. All right? And if I'm not mistaken, and I might be, because sometimes I am, but I believe, if we did a type on the quote 2, it's going to come back class integer. Yeah, it returns an integer. So you're getting an integer when you do floor. So an integer is not going to have, you know, the numbers after the decimal. It's floating point. I'm not going to get into mantises and all that nonsense, but all right. So first thing, typical arithmetic, as you can see in this small program we've crafted, but also I wanted you to see integer division. All right. There's 2 other things I want you to see, and then we're going to play around with something cool. I want you to see how to do this. The XP, I guess. I'm going to take num2 and I'll cube it. All right? That's how you cube things. 2 asterisks in a row is exponentiation. All right? And then there's one other thing I want to show you. Num2 percentage sign num1. That's a weird one. Let's look at it before we explain it. All right, that and the mod. So now when we run our program, Control S, F5, we get the exponent down here, this second line. You can see my first line up here. If I want to get rid of the line, here's a little programmer trick for you. Just put a number sign in front of it, and you will comment it out so it won't print the next time we run it. So now if I rerun, I only get the last line. All right? We could also, if we wanted, use 3, didn't want to get rid of those P's, we could use 3 quotes. So if I came up here and I went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all right, and I sandwich them with 3 quotes, 3 single apostrophes, I should say, single quotes, then this will all become a string. It'll get regarded, but it's not assigned or print, so it won't hurt anything, and you won't print them out, and basically you'll turn that into one big comment. So that's a little trick Python programmers do. You can either use the number sign up here, or you can use the 3 quotes in a row. Anyway, back to the point. I wanted to show you exponents, so num2, which is 92 cubed, I'm going to trust that. All right, I'm not going to break that down. I'm assuming it's doing the right thing. If I want to know for sure, I can take that and just do the number 2, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be an 8, and it is. Now, the second one, a little more interesting. The mod assigned num2 percentage num1. So it's 92 percentage 45, and it's giving me 2. Okay? The percent sign is what's called modulus or modulo, and it easily ranks as the most poorly named operator in the history of mathematics, because what it should be called is the remainder operator, because that's what it is. You do a division there. Num2, 92 divided by 45, modulus gives you the remainder. Okay? So when you take 92 and divide it by 45, 45 goes in twice. What's left over? 2. All right? If I did 14 modulo 3, what's it going to be? 3 goes into 14 how many times? 4 for the 12, right? What's left over? 2. So when I run it again, boy, you'd think I'd find an operation that would be different. God forbid something works. All right, do it with 22. How many times is that going to go into it? 7, right? Because of the 21. So now modulo should be 1, and it is. Thank goodness. Okay? That's all modulus is it's the remainder. It should be called the remainder operation. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, that's great. Good little trick. Who cares? But you will care later, because modulus is actually pretty handy when you do things with factoring. And if you want to know if something is a factor of something else, or something is a multiple of something else, and blah, blah, blah. There's different cool ways to use it. So whenever, real quick, we go over arithmetic stuff, I want to make sure you see exponentiation, which kind of makes sense that it's 2 asterisks, right? Because what is exponentiation? It's multiplication on crack, right? And what is multiplication? It's addition on crack. I should say steroids, but it's addition on crack. So that makes sense, you know? We're going to have to find it. We don't have 3, thank goodness. I don't think that would work. So when it comes to easy arithmetic stuff, that's basically what we're doing. Now, when I'm using these print statements, and I will bring these guys back to life now. So when I'm using these print statements, I'm creating variables in the program, and I'm just printing out the variables. We don't have to just print out the variables. We can put what we call string literals in front of them and just treat them like variables. So you can see in quotes I have the answers. Let's say the answers are colon space, and then I'll print out the 2 things right there, and I can do that. Okay? Now if I wanted to, I could say my string equals the answers are, and do it this way. I could assign a variable with that string and then print the variable. You can do it either way. Same thing, same result, as you can see. But I just want to let you know that you can also, if you want to, just pop a string in there. Pop a string in there. But make sure you do comma so you separate it. And you can do it as literal too. Okay? Alright, good. Then, I believe there is one more thing. Actually, two more things, but we're kind of going to use one example to show it to you. Let me watch this. First of all, let's undo this. All right, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so all that code is zotzed out. I can run it and get nothing, and it won't give me an error. So, what am I going to do? Let me get some room here. And let me think. We just did a whole bunch of things and looked at the arithmetic operations with two numbers, 92 and 45. Created some variables, printed them out, saw what the answers were, did some good stuff. But that program could get pretty boring pretty fast because it's the same two numbers. What if I want to create a program where every time I run the program asks the user, hey, give me two fresh numbers. That way we can find out the relations between any two numbers we wanted. It might be more of a useful program at the end of the line, but how could we do something like that? In a real quick, simple example I'm going to show you, we can do that by, I'm going to say my number for a variable name, using something called the input statement. So I can say input, and then a prompt. In this prompt I'll say enter a number, colon, space, boom, boom. And then when I enter the number, I'll get my number. For this example right now, I'm just going to print it. All right, and this is going to be one of the simplest things we can do. So I'm going to hit, just to show you again, I don't want you to get creeped out by me going so fast. Go to File, Save or Save As. Save is Control S. You have to save before you run. At first, it's going to be a pain in the butt, but believe me, it saves a lot of trouble because you want to save your work. Don't want your computer crashing when you haven't saved your work. All right, then run here is run module F5. So you click that, and it'll run your module for you. This program's running. It's waiting for me to enter a number. Enter a number. I'm going to say 23. All right? I press enter, and it prints the number out for me, just like it told me to. So that's pretty cool. So now I can take data from a user when the program runs. All right? And I have it in a variable, so I can use that variable when I do math kind of stuff, I'm guessing. So that's pretty cool. Let's do something with it. Let's say I have a variable, and I usually use this because it's funny sounding. I'll call it squoo, and I will take my number, and I will square it. And then what I'll print is the square of, comma, my number. A little secret, you're not going to need that space right there because Python does it for you. Comment is squoo. Okay? I don't need that. So, I'm going to enter a number. Then I'm going to create a variable called squoo, and I'm going to assign it the value of my number raised to the second power, so the square. And then I'm going to print a string literal, the square of, then the variable my number, what you inputted, and then is, and then squoo. So if I put in 4, it should say the square of 4 is 16. Okay? In a perfect, wonderful world, that is exactly what happened. You know what? It's not going to happen. This program is going to blow up 50 ways from Sunday. Watch me work. Control S to save, F5. Enter a number. Oh, maybe it will work. Should I use 4? I will use 4, because maybe I go, oh, dun, 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 dun. Oh, my little Minecraft nightlight thingy came on. What is the red stuff called again? I forget. I'll think of it in 2 seconds now. I know this stuff is lapis lazuli, the blue stuff. And the red stuff is the whatchamahoozy, the redstone. Thank you. We just got an error. Our first error. And it looks crazy, doesn't it? Don't worry. You don't have to understand it right now. What's funny is if you go back at the end of this course and look at that error, you're going to laugh because you're going to understand all of this stuff. You'll know exactly what that means when you get to the end of the course. But right now, I got to try and figure out what's going on here. So I say my number is assigned input, enter a number. Then before I printed it out, so I'm guessing that was okay. So squoo. Remember I told you the interactive window is good for debugging sometimes because you could just put in a variable name and it shows it to you. Well, let's put in my number. See what we get. Look at that. I get a 4. Okay. Let's put in squoo. Squoo, I get nothing. Name squoo is not defined. So, I think when I input my number here, I'm okay, because it shows me a 4. And then I get squoo. What? Wait a minute. See that 4 right there? Something funny about that 4? It's surrounded by quotes. And when you see something surrounded by quotes, in Python especially, but in most programming languages, it's because it's a string. So the program doesn't see that as an integer or a number that you can use with arithmetic. It sees it almost as a word or a symbol or a representation of the unit 4. Okay? So what we have to do is we have to take that string and we have to tell Python, no, we want you to consider this as a number so that we can use arithmetic. Forgive me as I slurp my coffee. So, how are we going to do that? Very simple. We have functions that are called casting functions. You cast from one thing to another. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this input function and I'm going to wrap it. That means I'm going to completely surround it with a function called int or int. And the input's going to work, and then it's going to act as the input to the integer function. And what that's going to do is say, hey, take that number 4, that string, make it an integer, because we want to do math with it. Then it'll properly create squoo. Then this print should work. At least I hope so. So, I'm going to save. I'm going to hit F5. Oh, enter a number. The suspense is killing me. You ready? I'm going to use a 4. All right. Nervous. Wait for it. Wait for it. It works. All right. The square of 4 is 16. And now, because we did it this way, I can run it again. And look at that. Pretty soon, we're going to create a situation where we don't even have to go and rerun the program again. Okay? So now I can try different numbers and do different inputs like that. Okay? I wanted you to see that because those are two pretty important things when it comes to having a lot of facility when you write your programs in the future. Not only are you going to want to be able to take input from the user and give different inputs as you test things out and run your programs, you're also going to want to understand casting. Sometimes you have to take that symbol of a number and make it a real number so you can use it. Sometimes you're going to want to take that number and make it a string, because you're going to find out that there's a whole lot of tools in Python for manipulating strings, cutting them in half, taking them, turning them around, reading them backwards, forwards, blah, 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 blah. And if you can take numbers and turn them into strings and use some of that string manipulation and then turn it back into a number, you can do some really neat things. So we're going to get involved with that later on in the course. But for now, I'm going to get rid of this. I wanted you to see all of this. That's some pretty okay stuff. We did a print hello world. We saw some comments. We saw, the print function. We started assigning variables. We started doing some arithmetic, some simple arithmetic relations. And then you saw the quotient, the difference between the integer division and regular division. Then you got to see exponentiation. You got to see modulus, the remainder, because that's what it is. It's just the remainder. All right? And then we learned a little bit about string literals and using them when we use our print statements, kind of making our output a little nicer. And then we learned about not just the input statement, or function, so that it used to be a statement. The input function can be used to take input from the user when you run your program, but you can also take that result and make sure that it's a number. So later on down the road, you can use it in arithmetic statements and stuff like that. Okay? Usually, at the end of these videos, if I have a whole bunch of code in front of us, like we do tonight, I run it all and see what we get. It's called the grand finale. And the grand finale today, 23 again is good, is right there. Not the greatest shakes in the world, 6 lines, but that's pretty cool. All right? You do not have to type this, because I am going to take rev1.py and I'm going to put it in your Sakai Unit 1 resources. So it's going to be there for you to download and play with yourself and change. That's how we learn when we program. We change stuff. We do different things with it. And you can play around with it. Okay? All right, good. Then I don't even know how long this has gone, but it's going to be a running joke all semester long. I am torn between making these videos short. All of my colleagues, everybody says to me, well, two things. I know I'm going to digress a little bit. Two things my colleagues get crazy about. One, I do these videos fresh every semester. Because if something happens in class, or if something happens in a quiz, or if something blah, 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 I want to discuss it. I want to talk to you. I don't want to just make generic videos so that, hey, welcome to the fall of 2017. Here's the canned video on data. It's boring. It's not just boring, it's bad teaching because you want to be able to react and to what's going on. Right now, there's nothing to react to. All right? We haven't done anything. We talked to each other for an hour, and now you're getting your first video. But later on in the course, different people are going to do different things, and we're going to learn from mistakes, and we're going to learn from different things we're doing. And I want to be able to react to that, and I want to be able to comment on that and talk about things like that. So I literally, every semester, sit down and do. It's not like I'm digging ditches. It's not hard, all right? But a lot of people do the videos generically. I don't think I would know how to do it generically. I would not have to talk about football because it's football season. In the spring, I'm complaining about the Mets. Later on in November, I'll be complaining about the Highlanders lose every night. In the spring, it's because the Mets lose every damn night. So I don't know how I would go through an entire video and not talk about some craziness like the weather or get in a fight with Alexa or whatever. I don't need to talk to you. Thank you, though. The blue light went on. Very touchy, Alexa. So, I said it again. I know. I apologize. Go to sleep.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot you don't know. So I shoot the videos fresh. Now, there's a second thing that they yell at me about. They yell at me about a lot of things. The second thing they yell at me about is, everybody who does videos, you're really short. They're like 7 minutes long. They're 8 minutes long. Get in, get out. Blah, 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 blah. And I tell them, you can't really, if you do it that way, if you have 5 little short videos to watch, there's no continuity. And I do it in segments. I mean, I did a little segment to show you how to make a program, then a little segment with the arithmetic, then a little segment with the input and the casting. So you guys are smart enough to divide that into 3 different things and make those divisions naturally in your mind without having to be spoon-fed 3 separate tiny little videos. So I kind of push back on that one too. So I do the videos for, it takes, I don't know that this takes more time as far as doing it long. All I do is I fire up Camtasia on my system here at home. I got a blah 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 blah. I got a Yeti mic, and I have all the podcasting stuff here, so that I can do things like this. And I just talk and do everything in front of you. I almost imagine that you're on the other side of the screen and you have a gag in your mouth so you can't talk. What a wonderful way to teach, huh? And that's basically it. I somehow fool myself in my mind that you're there, that you're listening to me, that you can hear me. And you are when you're watching the video. But you're not there right now. I know that. But what are you going to do? And then basically after I'm done with this, it'll go into Camtasia, and then I have to edit it. I'll do the close-ups, and I'll chop up the beginning placards, and I'll do some other stuff, and I'll zoom in, and I'll zoom out, and I'll blah, 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 blah. It takes about, I don't know, however long the video is, it takes about that long to edit it. Because you can fast forward through some stuff. But basically it's watching it again and making sure it looks the way you want it to look. And then it's just, click render and go watch TV for a half hour. So however long the video is, and this one's probably run about 30, 35 minutes by now, it takes 3 times as much to produce it, which isn't that bad. If the video takes a half hour, it's an hour and a half. Who cares? It's an hour and a half on a Wednesday night. So I'll do, like tonight, I started at 10:30. I'll be done by midnight. I'll watch a documentary on PBS for an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll go to bed, right? Actually, if you have Amazon Prime, the great courses, I used to scream bloody murder because I used to find these good, great course videos, like the Brain series came out one year, and they want like $150 for it, or $200. I'm like, that's a bunch of crap. I said, I'm not doing that. But the Great Courses now has a channel on Amazon Prime, and it's only $7 a month, and you get unlimited access to like 80 of their video courses. And some of them are good. I mean, I study non-traditional sources of knowledge. I spent the weekend watching a lecture on Arthurian literature and King Arthur from Dorsey Armstrong from Purdue. She's like one of the top Arthurian literature people in the country. And it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. Now I'm watching one on mythology. I know, I digress. But if you're a nerd, and I'm a practicing nerd, that's the Great Courses is fantastic. It's awesome. All right, I digress. I'm getting way off the field. So I'm going to produce this video, and to come full circle, the whole reason I started saying this thing is that I always say I'm going to keep it short. I'll keep it short, and we'll get out of here. But I want you to get something out of it, too. I don't want to shortchange you. I want to go through all of this stuff so that you understand it and you can see it. And believe me, I was there. 30 years ago, I was you. You know, I had to learn how to program, and I had to learn how to do stuff too. And I always benefited from repetition, and I always benefited from not just reading it in a book, but actually almost in an apprenticeship fashion, seeing somebody do it. You know? Being able to watch a practitioner do something. That's how we learn. We're mimics. Human beings are mimics if you study the psychology of it. That's what we do. That's, part of the keys to apprenticeship, not just being critiqued as you're doing something by an expert, but also being able to watch the expert do it, because we're mimics. That's what humans do. We mimic. Anyway, again, I'm getting 5 million miles off field. I'm just saying, I'm going to say this is going to be, I hope to be short tonight, and it's going to be a joke because it won't be short. But hopefully, you're going to get something out of it, all right? Hey, we're just beginning this course. So, this is your first review video. The second one, I hope to get you Friday. Worst case scenario, Saturday. And then I'm going to get you a third video. But that one's going to be more like an Easter egg or, just some extra behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm going to quick whip up a program. Take me like 10 minutes just so you can see how somebody whips up a program and starts from scratch. But you won't need it to do your assignments. The things that you're going to need to do your assignments are what we just got done today doing and what I'll do on Friday. Because I'll do the rest of the Unit 1 in a couple days. The stuff in Booleans, truth table, some stuff with if-then. We'll run over all that stuff. And then you'll have your resources. You'll have your slides. You'll have the Zell readings. And you'll have your review video stuff. And then probably Monday Night Football, I will release the assignments. And then you can have the assignments to work on for the rest of the week until we get to the quiz. Like I said, it's a process. It's a paint job, right? 3 coats. You do with the resources, then you work with the assignments, then you prepare for a quiz. First you're the learner, then you're the practitioner as you do the assignments, and then you're the expert reporting out because you have a quiz and you have to tell other people what the answers are. All right? All right. Then I'm going to get out of here. This ran long. Hold the phone. 38. It's not so bad. Also, prepare for insanity, mistakes, and kookiness because I just upgraded my Camtasia from 8 whatever to 9. So I'm using a new version of Camtasia. Some of the controls, I don't know where the hell they are. So for all I know, when you get this video, it's got to be upside down. And I'm going to be speaking French. All right, I apologize. I hope to get streamlined as soon as possible while I'm using this stuff. All right? All right, then I'm going to get out of here. You have a good night. You have any questions, you put them in the forum. You send me email. You do whatever it takes, all right? I want to make sure nobody has any questions in their mind. No, I don't want any lack of stability. I want you to know what's expected of you and be confident, and everything's going to be cool. You'll see. You'll be fine. All right, then I'm going to get out of here. I will talk to you soon. Bye.